I go to open the door and she's standing in my shower with one leg propped up, trying to shove the condom up her vagina after she flipped it inside out. What is your Tinder horror story? This guy asked me if I would be interested in dating his dad. Pretty sure that guy was a catfish of said dad pretending to be a guy. This was a few years ago, so my memory is a little fuzzy. Something along the lines of, "Hey, my dad looked over my shoulder when I was checking out your profile. He wanted me to tell you that he thinks you're really cute. He's been really lonely lately, would you be interested in going out with him? He's in his 50s. Here's a pic of him." Well, I've only gone on one Tinder date. We talked for a bit and I agreed to pick her up at Starbucks. She looked nothing like her pictures, but I thought I should be nice and at least hang out with her for a bit. We went to her place and the entire house reeked like cat pee. Like saturated. Then as she proceeded to show me her massive collection of animal tail butt plugs, she screamed at her chihuahua and smacked it right on the nose and without missing a beat, then asks if I want to make out on the couch. I awkwardly sat down and pretended to look at my phone and made up that my grandma was dying so I could cheat foe. I see this a lot, though they looked nothing like their pictures, but I should be nice and not run off thing. But that's already a pretty big lie right up front. It reminds me of that video that went viral a bit back where someone wore a fat suit on dates they got from dating sites. Anyone that left was an asshole somehow. I would turn and leave right then and there. That's already a big sign they're not on the level. We were supposed to meet at 9 p.m, he fell asleep and called me at 9:30 when I was already at the carnival. I told him not to bother coming as I didn't want to see him. He asked for another chance and I agreed. Unfortunately, my dad got really ill and had to spend the next 6 weeks in the hospital with me visiting him daily. I had no time for dates and he got extremely mad. He made a fake Instagram account which he used to follow me and everybody that I followed. He then saw me in a friend's Instagram story and showed up to the restaurant we were at. He called me a whore and a liar and we had to threaten to call the police because he would not leave. Met up with a Tinder girl at Dave & Buster's. She brought me there for a goddamn pyramid scheme sign-up presentation. Guess I respect the hustle. Happened to me in college, but this was in the early 90s, so no Tinder obviously. Met this attractive girl on campus, we had coffee, then a lunch, nothing ever physical, but she seemed into me. One day she calls me, asks me to come by her office. I'm thinking weird, but okay. I go, she meets me and she brings me in this room, and there's about 10 other guys around my age all sitting around this conference table. We're all looking at each other with these WTF expressions on our face. Then the girl comes back in with her boss and the sales pitch starts. So I met this girl on Tinder and went for a lunch date. We had a pretty good connection, so we decided to have dinner as well. After having a few drinks, one thing led to another and ended up back at my place, had sex and went to sleep. Middle of the night I wake up. She's intensely staring at me while she's crouched behind the bed. I asked her if everything is alright, she said yes and got back into bed. I thought little creepy, but probably nothing to worry about. She lays down to cuddle with me and she's wet. At the time, I was like, damn, I must just be a stallion. Fast forward to the morning, she's gone and there's a wet puddle beside the bed. She peed on my floor. I still don't understand it. I had a bathroom, but maybe she just got lost and couldn't hold it. I did not hear from her again. Sleepwalking? This exact thing happened to me once. It was a girl I had been dating for a while. We had a good amount to drink that night. I saw the whole thing happen because she woke me up getting out of bed. She just leaned forward on the bed and let fly. I got her back into bed and cleaned up before going back to sleep myself, and she remembered none of it the next morning. Over the next couple of years I saw her sleepwalk a handful of times. Luckily no other episode required cleaning up bodily fluids. Matched with my BFF's fiancé after the engagement party. Screenshots of everything and lost my BFF because I don't play that. I was uninvited to the wedding. Marriage lasted 18 months. I did not swipe right. I took a screenshot and asked my friend what she wanted me to do. She asked me to swipe right to see if he was active. I didn't. He messaged me asking to hook up. I told him off. He still wanted to hook up. I gave her all the screenshots. He uninvited me from the wedding because he was certain I would embarrass him. He was correct. I wouldn't sleep with my friend's fiancé, nor would I pretend that he wasn't a jerk. That's why the friendship ended. She was from a culture that required marriage before children. She was desperate for a baby and thought he was her last chance. He was running for a public office and wanted the smiling wife and cute baby. Yes. They both used each other. And yes, they had a baby. Talked to him for 2 weeks before we went out and no red flags, so we ended up going out to dinner. I said I hadn't been out in a while because I was trying to save money for a washer and dryer. He told me instead of saving for that, I should save for a boob job. I didn't even know how to reply, so he followed up with, "No, it's not a bad thing, my sister and mom both had small tits and got boob jobs and they look amazing." This is all before the waitress even brought our drinks. I just got up and left. My worst Tinder experience was pretty traumatizing for me at the time. I was a sophomore in college and she was a junior or senior at the same school. The first time we ever hung out, I went over to her apartment and we just watched some Netflix and hung out. Nothing crazy. I was thinking this chick is super cool, we may have something here. So I leave telling her I'd like to see her again if she's down. She told me she would love to and just hit her up whenever and we'll make some plans. We start texting, Snapchatting throughout the week and organize some plans for the following weekend. Out of nowhere, she starts sending me unsolicited nudes. Never once asked for them, and when we were hanging out the weekend prior, there was no sexual activity at any level. We quite literally Netflix and chilled. It caught me off guard, but I was more than cool with it. I'm a young college guy and this hot older chick wants to send me nudes after only hanging out one time? Say less. Fast forward to the weekend, she comes to my apartment and we're hanging out with my roommates watching something on TV. She asks me if she can stay the night, and after sending nudes to me all week, I kind of figured what was up, so in my head I'm like, "Oh duck yes," but I tell her of course, and to be polite I offer to sleep on the couch because we've only known each other for all of about 2 weeks and have only seen each other in person one time prior. She tells me she'd rather me sleep in my bed with her, so I know it's on. We get to Netflix and chilling in my room and I make a move. We start to hook up and eventually wind up having sex. I wore a condom and finished inside of it and tossed it off to my side of the bed. As we're laying there after a few minutes, she gets up abruptly, comes around to my side of the bed and grabs the condom off the floor and runs into the bathroom. I'm a little confused, maybe a little concerned, but kind of brush it off. As I'm laying there in my bed I hear a loud crash in my bathroom. She yells duck. I ask if she's okay and get no response. I'm a little concerned, thinking this girl just fell in my bathroom and cracked her head open or something. I go to open the door and she's standing in my shower with one leg propped up, trying to shove the condom up her vagina after she flipped it inside out. I freak out, no clue what to do. She's clearly freaked out and probably embarrassed. I have no clue. I shut the door and she immediately comes back out, says she's gonna leave and I say sounds good. I never hear from her again. Fresh off a breakup on campus, match with this really good looking girl who is talking pure filth. Obviously I'm just an idiot with a hurt heart, so I don't question much, head over to her place a few days later. She insisted I come over on a certain day at a certain time. Usually I would have been sketched out, but it was the middle of the day on a Big Ten campus. What exactly could go that south? Half an hour in, her husband came home. I was being used in a revenge plot. No more Tinder. Chatted with this girl for about 2 weeks. Every conversation went well and eventually I got her number and she started sharing nudes and speaking dirty. Late one evening after a stressful workday she talks me into driving an hour to come get coffee with her. She spends the next hour and a half non-stop talking about her ex and how she has to see him at the bank and all this personal upset ex-girlfriend stuff. She cuts me off anytime I try to speak or change the subject right back to him. A day later I get a text about how I didn't do any talking and I was too boring to be anything more than just friends. She got irate when I pointed out she would not allow me to speak and only wanted to talk about her ex-boyfriend when we have never once had a slow or boring conversation before meeting up. Met a guy, decent conversation, smart, funny, mutual nerdy hobbies. We decide to meet up at the local gamer bar and play some games while having our first date. Get in, sit down, dude has no teeth. Says a hack dentist told him they all had to be removed, couldn't get dentures due to budget, needed to wait for bone shards to fall out of his gums, etc. Proceeded to spit all over our food while talking, which granted, I knew he couldn't help, but if he can hide something this big from someone, what else could he be hiding? Plus I couldn't stomach the thought of making out with someone with no teeth. Like and subscribe for more r/ask Reddit videos.